NHTV and the Hampden North Haven League of Women Voters present the 2015 Candidates Forum. The two candidates for First Selectman are Republican incumbent Mike Freda and Democratic challenger John Bimonte. Volunteers from the League of Women Voters sponsor candidates' forums to provide voters with the information they need to make intelligent decisions at the polls on Election Day. And now here's our moderator, Kenn Venit.
Hello, and welcome to the League of Women Voters, Hampden North Haven, NHTV Candidates Debate for the 2015 First Selectman race in North Haven. Joining us tonight in the studio, in addition to the candidates, will be two veteran reporters, Greg Little from AM 1220 WQUN News and Ken Liebskin from the North Haven Citizen. We begin with opening statements by each candidate. A coin toss determined the order of presentation. We begin with Mike Freda.
Thank you very much, Ken, and it's a great pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this debate. It seems hard to believe, but it's been 6 years we've been together. And over the course of the past 6 years, North Haven has achieved unprecedented success in many different areas. From a financial standpoint, the town has achieved AAA-rated status, so the town's finances are in outstanding shape. This helps us support infrastructure projects that we need to move forward with, and that AAA status saves us millions of dollars over the course of a bonding note. From an economic development standpoint, the town has been awarded two major awards this past year by CEDAS and CERC as the leading municipality in the state in terms of economic development being delivered to the town of North Haven. The town continues to support education, as evidenced by our new middle school that is being built that will open up 2 years from this past August. The town continues to support infrastructure improvements. We've repaired and renovated all the different firehouses in the town, and the town is very focused, part of my administration, totally focused on improving the quality of life here in North Haven. One of our initiatives that we're moving forward with is to improve all the parks and ball fields across the town. It's my opinion that parks should be a destination for parents, for grandchildren, for children, for people to have a place to go. We're focused in on improving the quality of life for our senior citizens. We're working very closely to deliver a senior tax freeze, and we had a town meeting last night, and I'm very hopeful in the next month or so we'll be able to move forward with that exciting initiative to help our seniors. North Haven is truly poised for future success. Fellow citizens of North Haven, the future is very bright here in North Haven. Thank you.
And now the opening statement by John Bimonte.
First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters and NHTV for hosting tonight's debate. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Bimonte, and I'm a lifelong resident of North Haven, Connecticut. I attended Clintonville Elementary School, the former North Haven Junior High School, and North Haven Junior High School, and the North Haven High School, graduating in 1995. I married my wife, Fran, in February of 2003, and we have a son, John Sebastian, who is a third-grade student at Clintonville Elementary School. I am a 20-year town employee of the town of North Haven, currently working as the program coordinator for the Recreation Department, Community Services. My wife, Fran, and I are both small business owners in town. Fran has owned and operated Fran's Learning Center, which is a state-licensed daycare, since 2009. And since 2007, I have owned and operated a disc jockey business, Double J Sound. Throughout the years, I have volunteered for many youth organizations, such as North Haven Youth Football, North Haven Youth Basketball, Max Sinaway, and North Haven Special Olympics. I am concerned for the current state of our town. That is why over the last 18 months, I have been contemplating running for the office of First Selectman. Spending, I believe, is at an uncontrollable rate. Spending $30,000 to be select a town on a television show, and $84,000 over budget in the fiscal year 14-15 on legal fees are just a few examples. Professionally and personally, I am in touch with the pulse of North Haven, from my volunteer work to assisting seniors with heating their homes, I believe I have the insight to what the North Haven residents need. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. As we begin the questioning by the reporters, I'd like to let you know that the candidates will have 2 minutes to respond each, and that will be followed by 30 seconds of rebuttal by each. Our first question comes from Greg Little of WQUN.
Mr. Freda, regarding the presence of Quinnipiac University in town, how do you accommodate housing grad students and retail development near the campus and quell any concerns of the residents?
Thank you very much for that question, Greg. Managing the town and gown relationship is one of the more complicated and complex issues that any chief elected official can possibly try to move forward with. We have a situation in other towns where the town and gown relationship is not good. Here in North Haven, we enjoy an outstanding relationship with Quinnipiac University. I truly believe that that relationship is based on solid communication, and the reason that solid communication exists is because it's the best way to help protect the residents of North Haven, but also help the residents of North Haven and help situations like Northern Washington Avenue. So in terms of housing, we've worked very hard to bring in outside development. The project, the apartment complex on Daddio Farms, that site, was a private development that we brought in. We did that because we get the derivative of the tax incremental revenue from that. It created a repository, if you will, where the students, the medical students and the law students can go there. And my goal was to keep the students outside of the neighborhoods on a main avenue, in this case, Route 5. We're working very closely. Planning and Zoning has authorized between 400 and 500 apartments. We're bringing in outside development. Our goal is to keep the students, the medical students and the law students in that particular area. But I live in the western part of town, so I'm very sensitive to the expansion in the west of North Haven in terms of the properties that have been purchased. I can assure you there's a tremendous amount of dialogue taking place to protect the residents of North Haven from any intrusion into the residential areas. And with that, I'm convinced we can grow Washington Avenue through the economic development multiplier that demographic Quinnipiac University can represent for the town. Thank you.
John, your turn.
Yes. I have a concern, and the many people that I've spoken to during my campaign walking door to door, the residents that I've spoken to are concerned about Quinnipiac purchasing the streets, purchasing the buildings, and they are concerned for the partying that has occurred in Hamden will occur in North Haven. Hopefully, that will not occur in North Haven, and I agree with Mr. Freda. Building a relationship with Quinnipiac, their president and their faculty, and welcoming them with open arms is important. And busing the students to and from the businesses on Washington Avenue and Universal Drive is important for them to use our resources that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. And now you have 30 seconds for rebuttal. Michael Freda.
Okay, well, my rebuttal would simply be that when we look at managing the town and gown relationships, I'm happy to hear that Mr. Bimonte suggested a solid relationship is good. I can tell you that when a top elected official from another town calls me and says to me, Mike, we need your help. We have no relationship at all, and it's totally out of control in our town. How are you doing it? Well, the way we're doing it is simply stated that it's the same as managing complicated relationships in corporate America, the career I had before I took office. Some of the more challenging relationships take time and solid communication. Thank you.
John Bimonte, this is your 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. I agree that communication is important. However, the concern of North Haven should be I'm concerned as First Selectman if elected as to what they left Hamden in a mess. They partied a lot, and the residents of North Haven do not want that here.
Our second question comes from Ken Venit of the North Haven Citizen, and John Bimonte will be the first to respond.
Thank you very much. The Citizen is proud to be participating in this debate. We think we're the top weekly newspaper in North Haven, and we're also eager to cover the election. So we're looking forward to that. So here's my first question. Economic development in North Haven is a North Haven keyword, but the desire of Town Fair Tire to purchase the Rustic Oak Restaurant building and locate there has pitted the drive for economic development against the desire to remain a rustic town with the charm of historic and majestic oak trees. Would you allow Town Fair Tire to move into the space, or would you try and preserve it for a more amenable tenant?
As First Selectman, I would allow Town Fair Tire to move into the Rustic Oak property.
Wow.
However, my concern would be that would now be emptying a property, a business will now be empty where Town Fair Tire is. So that isn't really solving the problem of economic development. The oak trees that are there, if the business owner wants to take them down, then I believe it's their right to do that. It may not be the answer that people want to hear, but those are my beliefs. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Freda, your response?
Well, this is a project that I've been spending a great deal of time on. I've met with the owner of Town Fair Tire, Neil Mellon. He came into my office and said, Mike, I have a problem. We have a customer service issue at the end of the plaza. The wait times are too long, the bays are jammed up, and quite frankly, Mike, he said that we're looking to move. He told me about the Rustic Oak. The Rustic Oak is a project I've been directly involved with even prior to that meeting, as we had Portofino's restaurant that we tried to get there. We couldn't reconcile the discrepancy between the price that the seller wanted to sell it for and the price that Portofino's was looking to pay. So when Neil Mellon, the owner, came to me, I said, Neil, I'm not quite sure if that's the right location. He said, Mike, look, we have to go there. The owner has dropped the price, and we want to buy a building. So they moved forward. It was tabled at Planning and Zoning. But here's the new news. This is a project, again, that I've spent a considerable amount of time on. We're looking to work with Town Fair and work with Rustic Oak to create a different outcome. And that outcome could be moving Town Fair to another portion of town and bringing in another business in Rustic Oak. We've had interested people, restaurants, that wanted to go to Rustic Oak. In some respects, the parking is prohibitive. We have about 53 spaces there. So some of the major restaurants are looking for more. So this is a subject that is evolving. I think I know what the outcome is, but in the spirit of respecting the confidentiality agreements that are out there, I can tell the residents of North Haven that, in my mind, there'll be a very positive outcome to the Rustic Oak Town Fair situation. Thank you.
John Bimonte, you are now entitled to 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. As I stated before, moving Town Fair Tire to Rustic Oak would provide another empty building in the Stop and Shop Plaza, which already has a few vacant businesses as we speak today. I believe the Town Fair Tire property can be expanded, and I strongly believe that the Rustic Oak Town Fair Tire would be not a problem being there.
Michael Freda, you have 30 seconds.
Well, Mr. Bimonte is mistaken on this issue for the reason that the owner of Town Fair Tire has specifically said he's not looking to expand in the Stop and Shop Plaza. He doesn't want to expand in the Stop and Shop Plaza. And by the way, with respect to it being empty, there's still 18 months worth of lease there. Town Fair, if and when they move, will still have a facility at that south end of the plaza. In addition to that, we've agreed to work with Neil Mellon, the owner, to help him sublet it. It's our goal that during the 18-month period that there'll still be a tenant, we can sublet that to some other business. Thank you.
Our third question comes from Greg Little of WQUN.
Mr. Bimonte, you've campaigned on a theme that the town is supervisory heavy. You've told our radio station that in an interview. Where would you cut, and how much money saved do you envision?
I will look at the Public Works Department first and foremost. I believe in cutting back. There are three supervisors there currently, and the little things I would cut back would be eliminating leaf pickup on the weekends. I know leaf pickup is a big topic in North Haven, but if we can cut back on paying 3 supervisors overtime, including staff overtime, that would offset. I haven't really crunched the numbers as to how much that would save, but I'm assuming that would save a substantial amount of money towards the taxpayers. The supervisors union, I believe, has 16 or 18 members, and like I said, there's 3 or 4 of them in Public Works itself.
Michael Freda, you have 2 minutes for your response.
Well, I would not cut leaf pickup. We tried to introduce that to the public years ago, and I heard from over 2,000 people, and there's many seniors that would provide a hardship for. So we're certainly not going to provide a hardship for the seniors by eliminating leaf pickup. The numbers are roughly $175,000 that the town would save for that service. That's a service that separates the town from many other communities, and North Haven residents love leaf pickup. In terms of the budget itself, this administration has balanced 6 consecutive budgets and delivered 3 surpluses. So right now, when we look at the financial condition of the company or the entity, the company meaning the company that we have in Town Hall and the overall administration, the entity meaning the town of North Haven, we're in solid financial shape. And the rating agencies love the way North Haven is being run from a financial standpoint. And our outside auditors, McGladrey and Pullen, put us at the top of the municipality list in terms of our financial acumen and the way the town is being run. We look at every line item. There's over 470 line items in this budget. And I can tell you that although some of the line items will go over at the end of the year, every single year the town has balanced the budget, much to the envy of many surrounding towns in this general area. And I know that because I deal with the other First Selectmen and the mayors, and financially, many of them are struggling right now. So I think we're on the right track here in North Haven from a service model standpoint. Thank you.
John, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
To be very clear, if elected First Selectman, I will not be eliminating leaf pickup. My suggestion would be to eliminate it on Saturday and Sunday. Have leaf pickup Monday through Friday instead of paying 3 supervisors overtime and staff overtime for 6 weeks at time and a half and double time on Sundays. That would be more cost efficient for the town.
Michael, your 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Well, what we do in the town is we have outside contractors that we pay to help reduce the cost on the weekends. Sure, we have supervisors on the weekends to do that because we have to protect the town from a liability standpoint. We need seasoned professionals that are overseeing that activity. In terms of the weekend pickup, many people cannot push their leaves to the curb during the week because they work. So we provide the service as an amenity to the town of North Haven for those people who choose to put leaves at their curbside on Saturdays and Sundays. And that's how we handle it.
Our 4th question comes from Ken Liebskin of the North Haven Citizen.
Okay, thanks again. Here's the question. Affordable housing projects are sometimes rejected by Planning and Zoning Commission to spare homeowners from living in close proximity to them. But the town has lost 3 cases to developers in accordance with the state's 830G statute, which allows developers to overstep town zoning laws if 10% of a town's housing stock isn't classified as affordable. So where do you stand on the issue of promoting affordable housing and also rejecting projects with the threat of legal resource from 830G?
The question is to John or
And
myself.
then we'll take it to John.
Oh, okay. Affordable housing is definitely a hot topic in North Haven. We are under the state guidelines of what percentage we should be at. Living in North Haven my entire life, I like the small hometown feel that we have. I understand that it is a hot topic, and I would welcome affordable housing. My only concern with affordable housing is the extra traffic on the roads, and the children will be moving in, will be going to schools. I know our enrollment rate is down in North Haven. However, that will increase. So that is a concern of mine as well with affordable housing. And another concern of mine would be the crime rate. The crime rate in North Haven can be concerning, especially on the Universal Drive area.
Mr. Freda, your 2 minutes.
Yes, this is a subject that I've also spent a great deal of time on. I've actually had several meetings with the Commissioner of Housing at the state level, Yvonne Klein. Yvonne Klein was my counterpart in the town of Darien, and they had a very low percentage in terms of what the state mandates are. Now, just so everyone knows, the state guidelines are 10% for affordable housing. North Haven currently is at 4.27%. We know, because we've heard from the state, that the state is not going to reduce those guidelines. We've been exploited, as Ken Leapskin mentioned, and 8-30G has tended to be a tool that developers will use against the town to go to court to win cases. And yes, we have fought 2 or 3 different cases. I felt we had to do that to protect the residents in those areas. The residents in those areas lived in R40 zones. Those R40 zones are very precious zones. People move into R40 zones because of the integrity of having space between neighbors and quality of life. The problem with affordable housing revolves around density. And a lot of residents do not want high density in R40 zones. There have been projects with 76 units on 14 acres. That's 5 units per acre. So my plan, knowing the state is not going to change the guidelines, is to seek a moratorium. And I'm working with many people to get that moratorium. And that moratorium revolves around identifying the types of housing that have a point total assigned to them. Senior housing, as an example, has a point total assigned to it. We're working on a project in back of 555 Pool Road that'll add 30 or 40 income-restricted senior houses there that will get credit towards the affordable goal. Affordable housing also appeals to workforce housing. I can go on and on about this. My time is running out, but I'll be more than happy to talk to any resident about what the future plan is for affordable housing here or workforce housing in North Haven. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, you have 30 seconds.
I agree with the density issue. Having the houses or properties so close together would be an issue for the residents. Like I said earlier, with the affordable housing brings more traffic, more children in the schools, and more crime.
Mr. Freda, 30 seconds.
Well, part of the solution, I think, to affordable housing is workforce housing. And the way it works is that it's a percentage of median income. So there's 60, 70, and 80% median guidelines based on the median income. So let's assume that the median income of North Haven is $91,000. 60% of $91,000 is $54,000. So in order to bring in a young professional, that person would have to make $54,000, and he or she could go into an affordable housing unit. But train stations, a project I'm working on, also create housing, and that's how I see part of the solution for the future here in North Haven. Thank you.
Our 5th question comes from Greg Little.
Mr. Freda, how would you evaluate the tree pruning program by UI in Asplund?
That's a great question, Greg, and this is another example of creating relationships. We have an outstanding relationship with the UI, and that relationship revolves around solid communication. And the way we've handled this is we've gone to the residents and we've said that if you do not want a tree down, we will support you. And we've told the UI that. So the process is as follows. If the UI feels that there's a tree that's impugning the integrity of power lines, they will go to the resident and seek a solution. There's one of 2 options, either to trim out of those wires or take the tree down. What we're seeing in North Haven is, surprisingly, many of the people who've been approached want the trees down. It's created a little bit of an image problem with other people in other parts of town who travel in those areas, and they question why the trees are being taken down. But I can assure each resident that they will be supported by the town if they don't want that tree down. So what have we seen? Well, this past winter, 7 consecutive weekends with storms, snowstorms, only 1 power outage in North Haven. And that power outage was a byproduct of something that happened on Skiff Street in Hamden. So we're seeing the positive outcome of very calculated and strategic tree removal here in North Haven. We do not want an emasculation of the town of North Haven. Trees do have a wonderful benefit for the town. But we as residents have to understand that if a tree is impugning the integrity of a power line, like we saw in Sandy, like we saw in the storm Irene, we had significant power outages in North Haven as a result of that. We're on the right track with this, ladies and gentlemen, and you have my commitment that we will continue to work with and communicate with the UI to ensure that things are done properly. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, you have 2 minutes.
I believe it is important to have a relationship with the UI and North Haven. The only problem that I have with the tree removal is the trees that are left in the yards or in the front lawns of the residences. Driving around town, you see these large tree stumps, and the town was going to be removing the stumps within the right-of-way to the street. My concern is that those big trees are going to be there, and it's an eyesore for North Haven, in my opinion. But I do believe that the residents do have the right to take their trees down if they wish to. My parents live in North Haven, and every storm, they lost power. And they exercise their right to take those trees down, and it has prevented them from losing power in the later storms in those years.
Mr. Freda, 30 seconds.
As far as the tree stumps or as far as the wood that's been left over, let me tell you how we've approached this and what we've done. It is true that the town will take the stumps and grind them down within the 10-foot right-of-way from the curb. But the UI, as part of the communication with us and part of the communication with the residents, there has to be an agreement that the resident knows that in those cases they may have to take the tree stump down. But I can share with you, as far as the wood that's left over, we've got the UI and Asplunk to add additional trucks in North Haven, and we're on a mission to clean up all the logs that may still be there. And I think we've made great headway in that. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, 30 seconds.
Yeah, my concern is the timing. I believe the town of North Haven should give residents a specific time frame to remove the wood. And if they don't remove the wood, then someone will remove it for them. I think that service would be a great help to the seniors, especially the seniors who don't have the manpower or the resources to move it themselves.
For question number 6, we go to Ken Liebskin.
Thanks again. This one's for North Haven sports fans. After a student spoke out at a Board of Ed meeting in March about changing the name of the North Haven Indian mascot, the board stated that a subcommittee will be formed to investigate whether the North Haven High School Indian mascot should be replaced. A debate ensued between citizens and Native American groups who seek a new mascot and residents who are proud of the image of the Indian that represents the school and the town. Where do you stand on the issue of the Indian mascot?
Mr. Bimonte, you have 2 minutes.
As a lifelong North Haven resident and wearing the Indian on my jersey as a basketball player in North Haven High School, I took a lot of pride wearing that jersey. And if elected First Selectman, I would advise the Board of Education not to change that logo or mascot. Wearing that Indian on my shirt in high school meant that I was honoring the tribe that founded North Haven. And that meant a lot. I would not want the Indian to be removed.
Mr. Freda, you have 2 minutes.
I am absolutely against that logo being changed. My son was captain of the baseball team, was a tri-captain with other wonderful young men, and he wore that logo with a great deal of pride. I will not support it. I will take a stand against it. And I'd like to also say that there seems to be a misinterpretation. The logo is a logo. It's not a mascot. A mascot is something or someone that may run along the sidelines dressed as what the logo depicts. So there is no way I'm going to support any change in that. I love the North Haven Indians. I saw it clearly as a parent and a private citizen, and I would definitely take a stand if there's a movement to change that logo. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, a further comment, 30 seconds.
I really don't have anything else to say, but again, I support keeping the North Haven Indian. It was a privilege to wear that on my jersey when I was a student athlete in North Haven.
Mr. Freda, 30 seconds.
I'll just repeat what I said. I will not support any change in that. Thank you.
Question number 7 from Greg Little of WQUN.
North Haven has a lower amount of open space than surrounding towns. How can you conserve open space and still satisfy the needs of developers?
This would be for Mr. Bimonte.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
We're talking about open space here. North Haven has a lower amount than surrounding towns.
Yes.
How do you preserve open space and still satisfy the need of developers, realizing that the grand list is an important thing?
Yes, the grand list is very important, and the grand list has been flat for the last few years. So open space is a big issue in North Haven. We're gonna, as First Selectman, I will try to maintain and free up the space.
Mr. Freda, you have 2 minutes.
Well, the space is already free. So let me tell you what we're doing here in town, because I would agree that it's a tremendously important initiative. We've already recommissioned the Open Space Committee at my request. We have identified, or they have, the top 15 or so open space parcels in the town of North Haven. Those open space parcels may represent approximately 100 acres of property. This is a mission that I'm on because we are in a defensive position. And that defensive position is such that developers can come in, utilize 8-30G, put the cluster housing in the areas that we've seen problems in. So we're taking an offensive approach. Next week, we'll be meeting with the Open Space Committee and reviewing each and every parcel that they have determined and they've come up for my consideration. Now, here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. In an effort to protect the space that's already free, and in an effort to protect North Haven from being catapulted into a defensive position with developers coming in, we're going to need a solution. And unfortunately, this only solution now is a possible bonding package for the town to buy open space, because the price per acre in North Haven is very significant right now. Most recently, I had a situation up in the western part of town. There's a beautiful 14-acre parcel, I should say, that someone owns. They came to me with a 55 and over gated community concept, which I liked. However, it would require 84 units on 13 acres. And that is an example of high cluster housing in an R40 zone that would significantly increase traffic in that area, and that would be a problem. So we're already halfway through the process. We've identified all the parcels, those that are free, and now we have to determine how we can capture those parcels to be in an offensive position rather than be catapulted into a defensive position. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, 30 seconds, further comment?
Again, I agree with Mr. Freda. People may be home questioning why, but I agree with Mr. Freda on this one again. We have to be defensive. We don't want any more problems or lawsuits against the town moving forward.
Okay, I have a question for you, gentlemen, and it's sort of a non-political one, more a reflection. You are both very passionate about North Haven, raising families here, doing business here. What is behind your love of this, I would say, unique town? Mr. Freda, would you start?
Yes. Thank you. That's a very provocative question, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. My affection for North Haven started at 2 years old. I grew up in West Haven, and my father had a sister, Phyllis Fusco, on Fitch Street, and my Uncle Sal. Every Christmas Day, every Easter Sunday, and twice a year during the summer, my parents took my younger brother and I out to North Haven to visit my aunt. And those memories have left a lasting impression on me. All those years, from age 2 to age 19, we came out all those times. And even after my father passed away when I was 21 years old, I still was compelled to visit my aunt and my cousins on Fitch Street. During those years, I thought North Haven was the greatest place. I can still see myself on the front lawn on that Fitch Street house tossing a football up in the air, playing imaginary football and baseball games, watching a development go in, which is now Governor Drive. So coming from West Haven, when I got married, my wife and I were married, the first thing I thought of where to live was North Haven, and my wife agreed. And we're proud residents for all these years. Although I grew up in West Haven, and I love West Haven with all those memories, I truly love North Haven. And that is the source of all this pride and passion that I've had down through the years here in this wonderful town. Thank you.
Mr. Bimonte, what is your reflective thought about North Haven?
In my eyes, North Haven is the greatest place on earth. It has the greatest police department, the greatest fire department, a great library, great community services, a phenomenal recreation department, and it's the small hometown feel that I really enjoy. Growing up in town, going to the schools in town, playing sports in town, it just, the passion, the camaraderie, the North Haven is just the greatest place in town, and I would like to bring back that feel. Growing up in North Haven, going to the sidewalk sales when I was younger, where the Windsor shop used to be in Forest Grove, I used to look forward to that every year when I was a child. The North Haven Fair. The North Haven Fair was, when I was a kid, if you didn't go to the fair, something was wrong with you. But the North Haven has a great hometown feel. And what I enjoy is the people that move from other towns to North Haven, they don't understand until they're here for a little bit of time and get used to what North Haven, the feel of North Haven is all about.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to move now to the closing statements, and based on the toss of a coin, the Republican incumbent, Michael Freda, will go first.
Well, over the past 6 years, as I've mentioned earlier, we've achieved unprecedented success. And that success has manifested itself into many different areas. We are really on the right track here in North Haven. But make no mistake, there are challenges ahead with the uncertainty at the state level, with what we see across the country. And it's my opinion, fellow citizens, that North Haven needs to have their chief elected official as someone with a tremendous amount of experience, that has experience from a strategic management standpoint, an operational management standpoint, that has the financial acumen to run a government, that is very in tune with the issues that are taking place at a regional level, having relationships with other chief elected officials across the region, and being well connected at the state level. These are the key ingredients to future success. These are the key ingredients to prevent North Haven from being catapulted into a defensive position. With respect to the challenges that still remain, I can share with each and every one of you that this is part of the competitive drive that I have had for years, an implacable will to succeed, a constant pursuit of perfection, knowing that perfection can be a very elusive goal. But along the way, by striving for perfection, we can achieve greatness. And part of what drives me continuously, every single day, to be highly motivated, to work with each and every one of you, to provide a high level of customer service, to deliver incremental economic development, to ensure that public safety is at the highest levels, both police and fire, to continue to support education in the town. I think North Haven needs an experienced leader that has no ability to be intimidated by anything that can ever happen. And I hope that you will agree that I'm that person for you. Thank you very much.
And now our closing statement from Democratic challenger John Bimonte.
The town of North Haven needs a leader that understands the needs of North Haven, a leader that can work through adversity. I use this quote a lot, and the late great Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer Reggie White once said, God places the heaviest burden on those who can carry its weight. Adversity is nothing new for me. from being diagnosed to stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2010 and going for treatment through 2011, to losing a child 4 months before its birth in 2012. To the residents of North Haven, it is important to exercise your right to vote. Voter turnout has always been low in North Haven, and I ask each and every one of you to please vote, and to also remind your family, neighbors, and friends. And as you enter your respective polling places, ask yourselves, are we better off than we were 6 years ago? Ask yourselves, my taxes have increased. However, my Social Security has not. How will I pay for my groceries this month? Ask yourselves, why are we looking the other way instead of assisting the children and their families that are struggling with substance abuse in the middle school and high schools? Ask yourselves, during Mr. Freda's campaign in 2009, he showed slides of empty and dilapidated buildings around town. Why are those buildings still empty and dilapidated today? Legitimate questions. Only you can help change North Haven. With my experiences involved in several local organizations, I have the inner strength and passion to be a great leader that North Haven is lacking, and I ask for your vote on November 3rd to bring North Haven back where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for joining us. This has been the 2015 First Selectman Candidates Debate on NHTV, presented by the League of Women Voters of Hamden, North Haven, and NHTV. We also thank Greg Little from WQUN and Ken Liebskin from the North Haven Citizen for their questions. I'm Kenn Venit, and I invite you to please join us election night for our election night coverage here on NHTV.
The League of Women Voters reminds us that democracy is not a spectator sport. We urge everyone to become informed and to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd. The regular polling places will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Live election night coverage begins immediately after the polls close on NHTV.